My meme's in the background. Hey, how's it going? Hey, happy Saturday. That was weird. Usually it shows my primary monitor with the blur, but this time it showed my Discord and you saw some funny memes going on. But anyways, hey, how's it going? Happy Saturday. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you're doing well. What do you guys got going on today? I know that. So first of all, I was out last week. I do apologize. We had to attend a friend's birthday party slash housewarming party slash get together that's been put off since before the pandemic. And so that was the only opportunity he had where everyone was going to finally get together. So it's been a long time since I've seen this group of people. And the first time I saw this person's house, so I was, I had to do it because it wasn't going to happen again anytime soon, especially with winter coming and everything like that. So I do apologize. And then, yeah, so man, happy Saturday. I'm curious what you guys are up to. So I missed you guys last week. There's probably a lot of stuff going on. I'm sure you're working on tons of projects like always. Even if I were here, I'm sure you guys would have tons of things to talk about. I for one, well, first I'll talk about the weather. What a change in the weather, at least for here in the Midwest. We've actually gotten some rain. I think it's rained like 4 days in a row. It's cooled off. It's very humid right now, but still cool. I'm loving it. I'm loving this weather. I don't have to use as much water. We need the rain too because we have forest fires in northern Minnesota that actually need rain. I don't know if this rain has made it to it, but I hope it has. So yeah, the Midwest in general needs some rain. I know East Coast has had some, and I know West Coast always needs rain. But weather has been pleasant, and I'm enjoying it. I have to use less water, use less energy for air conditioning, so that's awesome. But yeah, so I know that you guys are super busy. I'm busy too. I won't babble on forever about what I've been doing, but I've got a couple of things going on. I know that I've hinted a little bit over the last maybe 2 weeks that I'm planning a move for my rack, and I said I think in a previous stream that it may as well be a block away. But really, I'm moving my rack 10 feet away, and it's actually just around the corner in this other room. I forever called it the grow room. I don't grow anything in this room, but the previous owner had a label on the room that said sauna, but there's no trace of a sauna being in there, and it's not cedar wood or anything like that. So I've called it the grow room, even though I don't have one. Hopefully feds don't show up here. I've called it that jokingly for a long time. But now I'm officially, I think I'm going to call it my data center. And now it actually has a room or a name for the room. It's never had a name. My wife and I are just always like the storage room with the weird door on it that's not a door that really only like a small person or a child can fit through without crawling. And so over the last couple of weeks, I've opened that up. I've finished up some drywall, put a window in there. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is all DIY, except for the window. I got professional help on that. I had the window professionally put in, but I've been moving some stuff in there. And if you've seen in Discord, I've been asking weird questions about how would you solve this problem using only the things you could probably get at Home Depot or Lowe's or possibly on Amazon. So I've been trying to figure some stuff out, retrofitting a lot of stuff. I'm preparing to move a lot of my network cable. Thankfully, when I ran my cable the first time in my house, I added an extra, I'd say about 4 or 5 feet on each, and that might just do it. So we'll see. And then I got to get power in there, and so I've been the whole 9 yards. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to put another outlet here, I might as well put another outlets everywhere. So it's like this project so far is pretty much the definition of scope creep for anything. Because I'm like, okay, I don't want to paint again. I don't want to do electrical again. I don't want to do drywall again. So let's fix all the things that fall into this category now because I don't want this dust and this mess again. So anyways, that's what I've been working on. And obviously some content. I got 2 things in the pipeline, but hopefully I can get back to those and get back to these and kind of get back to a kind of a normal schedule between, work content and this whole move and remodeling this little area. I've been so busy. I know you guys have been too, so it's no excuse. But anyways, yeah, let me know what you guys are working on. Let me know if you have questions. I do apologize that I wasn't here last week to talk about or answer questions about. I think a lot of people had questions about Little Link server, k3s, like a lot of the things that I've been doing and answering questions for. Some people had asked me in Discord, totally fine, but now's your chance to ask me live and put me on the spot. Don't go easy though. So anyways, real quick before we get started, a couple of things. So there were follows right in the beginning. So there were a couple just a little bit before I started. So I'll call those out. Duct Tape 42, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Marks VS 2033, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Haas 00312, thanks for the follow, appreciate it, welcome. And then Brian Weber, dude, thanks for the resub. Prime, 2 months. Hi and hello. How's it going, Brian? Thanks for the subs. Thanks for the continued support. Really appreciate it. It's Julian. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Hey, Ninja Tron. Thanks for the sub. Prime sub. Appreciate it. Thanks for spending your Prime sub on me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Morvia, hey, how's it going? Resub, tier 1, 10 months. How are you? How's it going? Haven't seen that name in a while. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're doing well. How have you been? Yeah, so let me know how I can help. I am going to say, like, if you're new to the stream, I used to do the stream a lot longer. I've been trying to keep it almost exactly an hour. So I don't want to, just babble and bore you guys for any longer than I need to. I do appreciate you being here. But I want to be conscious of your time. And then, if I go a little over, totally fine. But I do need to get another coat of paint on this in this room, the data center. I'm going to call it that. In the data center, it has a name now. Before we have dinner plans, and I got to get it on there before that, because then I want to put probably another one on after we get back. So anyways, nothing changed. Roughly an hour stream. So we'll just go for there. But if I'm just like all of a sudden like, hey, I really got to go, I'll have to go. But anyways, who was first? Let's see who was first. I know who was first because I saw them rolling in. Let's go see who was first. First in the channel, iLoad, feeling the first days. Mafney, you do? Oh, man. So, Mafney, you are usually first. iLoad is always a close second. PC Geek is always a close second, too. I think he's out right now, but, man, you guys are always in here early. I do appreciate it. Thank you. iLoad, yeah, seems good. I think so. I think you were first. I didn't clear the channel. Unless Twitch did some weird stuff and cleared out the channel, it looks like you were. So, awesome. This is me testing my bot. So whenever you see this command, this is me testing my bot. And this was inspired by Techno. He tested the banana command for me. It didn't do anything except for tell him to use a real command. And so I slipped a banana in there. Anyways, I got to test my bot because it controls the lights and controls a lot of things in the stream. And if that doesn't work, it's pretty boring. Let's see. Jenna Ryan, got to do better than that. Yeah, first question mark. That's right. And I think it was off. I don't have timestamps, but he was within a minute, within 60 seconds. So pretty close. Let's see. Good afternoon, Mr. Imp. How's it going? Good afternoon. IOPS, hi. Dow Cola, how's it going? I say Dow Cola. I don't know if it's DOA Cola, but I say Dow Cola. So if it's something else, man, let me know. I mean, that's how I think of it in my head, and that's how I've said it for a long time. And I know you've been around for a long time and in Discord for a long time. But if I pronounce your name wrong, let me know. Most people are like, yeah, that's fine. I want to pronounce it the right way. I mean, it looks like Dow, looks like DOA, or it looks like DOA. I think I said DOA at first, but anyways, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Creepinson, hi. How's it going? Good to see you, Creepinson. Seagor, hey, thanks for the resub. Prime, 10 months. Thank you so much. Only one of my lights is going. I think I know why, because the infrared beam isn't hitting the other one. But act like both lights are going now. But Seagor, thanks for the resub. Prime, 10 months. Dude, 10 months already. Thank you so much. Dow Cola, is the vision any sharper after such intense cleaning of the glasses? Yeah, I know that's something I do, that I realize that my glasses are dirty, and yeah, so it is more intense. It never really bothers me, but then like sometimes when I watch the stream again, I'll catch like the corner right here, and I'll just see like crud in it, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that. So anyways, they were really bad because it's been so humid and masks and breath and rain over the last week. And so today was the day I decided I was going to clean them up. But let's see. Oh, man, that guy's stuck on flashing. Oh, here we go. All right, I like it. But yeah, a lot sharper. If you're here early, right before I start the stream, in this little window down here in the bottom, usually you see me cleaning my glasses. That's my cue when I start the stream. I got a whole like pre-launch flight checklist, and part of it is clean the glasses. Tinkerfu, how's it going? Good to see you. Hi from Switzerland. Haven't seen that name in a while. Tinkerfu, how are you? Takano, how's it going, man? What are you up to? I know you got some awesome projects going on. You always do. Kira Itachi, that's right. Sup from Spain. Hey, how's it going? What's up from the U.S.? Let's see. Dow Cola, what are you up to this weekend? Let's see. He's reading CCNA books, as usual. Home lab maintenance operations. Nice. So CCNA, are you studying to get your CCNA? Cisco Certified Network Administrator, I think. I think the A is for administrator or administration. Probably is. But how's it going, man? Are you studying? Are you trying to get certified, CCNA certified? That's pretty awesome. That's tough. I considered it. This was probably like 10, 15 years ago. I considered it because I was doing a lot of Cisco stuff, and I thought, well, that's the next logical step for me. Like, why not? I never went through with it though, but it's tough. So yeah, hopefully it goes well. There's a ton of people, as you know, in our Discord that are really into networking that might be able to lend a hand. Homeland maintenance operations. I hear you. I say this, but my weekends are usually my home lab operations. It's okay. What's broken? What's not working as expected? Or what can I fix? Or what did I implement this week that now I need to operationalize? And so when I say operationalize, like sometimes, throughout the week, I create content, spin up a service, and I have that service running. Good, great, and it's running. But there's a lot of care and feeding that comes with spinning up services, self-hosting services, or anything in your home lab. You gotta, think about backups, HA if you're gonna do HA, any number of things, patching, updating, moving things around, and so. Usually the weekends too is my time to operationalize and do maintenance and operation on my stuff too. So far, I've been pretty lucky the last couple of weekends. Things have been really stable, and I ever since I moved to new hardware and a new infrastructure, it's been surprisingly stable. But I've been pretty lucky. There were a couple of gotchas. I think it was about a week and a half ago. Our power went out as soon as I got home. I think on a Thursday or Friday, and it forced me to rethink a couple of things. How I have my UPS is set up, and what I have running, and can I run a bare minimum version of my infrastructure PoE powered, and that might be coming soon. So, but yeah, I hear you. Ilu, Discord is where the fun is always happening. Yeah, it is. It's 24/7, 24/7 talking about technology. I love it. I love popping in. I hear so much, and I learn so much from you guys. It's been incredible. Kira, Itachi. I've been working on some Splunk projects. Super fun and good learning curve. Yeah, for sure. Splunk, man, they were one of the first to do big logging. I'll call it big logging, but log aggregation at a large scale. They've been around for 15, 20 years, something like that. Used it a while ago too, and it's pretty awesome. Splunk is pretty awesome, and they were. Really, they still are really good at what they do, aggregating logs, indexing them, and being able to search them really fast. It's fantastic. But yeah, learning curve for sure, especially, writing your queries and setting up alerts and stuff like that. You have to let me know how it goes. I might need to take a look at Splunk once again. Amazed Josh, what's up, man? Dude, how are you? Amazed Josh, man. Amazed Josh, he pops in here every now and then. Resub, tier 1, 8 months, 1 month streak. Dude, thank you so much. So Amazed Josh is one of the OGs of my channel. When I used to play games and hang out and it was just me and him, and then I would hop in his channel and, and he would hop in my channel. It's just me and him playing games. How's it going, man? So he's been around for a while, so I appreciate it, man. How you doing? Hopefully things are well for you. I think you were getting engaged and you were building your fiance, I think, possibly a gaming PC, and so hopefully that's going well. How you been, man? Good to see you, man. Memories of just playing a bunch of indie games off of Steam and having Amazed Josh on my channel, the only one, and I was totally fine with it. It was awesome. How's it going, man? And then real quick, there was a follow in there. Ferris Nart. I probably slaughtered that one. How's it going? Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Mr. Imp ran 300 feet of fiber to my server in the garage. Wow, nice. I commend you. Is your garage attached? Is it not attached? Did you have to bury the wire? I have a detached garage right now, and so far, oh, Hype Train, thank you so much, dude. Home Lab New gifted 5 tier 1 subs. Dude, thank you. How are you doing, Home Lab New? How's it going, man? Man, you even triggered both lights to go off. Thank you so much. Dude, Home Lab New, you didn't have to. Thanks, man. How's it going? Home Lab New gifted 5 tier 1 subs. Nimzer, Crazy Boy, Bloodlight, Pressure Puree, I think Puree or Puree, and Abdurham. Oh, I got to get this one. Abdurrahman. I'm going with that. Enjoy your gifted stuff from Home Lab New. Dude, thank you so much. Appreciate it, man. How are you doing? You're in the UK, new job. Hopefully it's going well. I'm sure it is. I'm sure you're killing it. And I told you last time we talked, play the new guy card for as long as you can. Hopefully you're still liking what you're doing. I'm sure you are. But real quick, so fiber, yeah, that's awesome. I do need to improve my network to my garage at some point. I have a detached garage. I have a wireless bridge that goes from here to there. It's all on Unify. It actually works fantastic. I mean, I've had a wireless bridge now. I've had a wireless bridge ever since I moved in here. But at some point in time, I upgraded from an old Cisco Cisco router that I had DDWRT running on it and created a link. And then I just bought another AC Pro and created a link, and it's been running fantastic. I have cameras running off of it and everything, just to, extend my network into the garage without wires. I would love to run a wire. I just don't know how to get it underground. I mean, I get how to get it underground. I get scared when it comes to like drilling holes and foundation and getting things underground, and then actually getting it somewhere. So I've been doing wireless for a while. As much as I love wired, this is the one use case where wireless has been working out great for me. But man, fiber to your garage. What are you doing in your garage that needs fiber? I guess if you're going to run something, you're going to use an uplink to another switch. Like, why not use that 10 gig port? So that's awesome. Geeky Ram, putting SSL on all the things. All right, man. So yeah, getting certificates, and I've seen it in Discord. Getting certificates, getting TLS, and securing all of your certs. I think we were there to celebrate that moment with you in Discord when you got the first one. And once you get the first one, it's just rinse and repeat, and it's so awesome. So congratulations, that's awesome. So you're getting Let's Encrypt certificates, publicly signed certs, using them internally to use for your services, and maybe using them externally too. So awesome. Congratulations. Abdurham. Hey, how's it going? Brian Weber, hello and hi. That was part of your sub. Hey, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Dowcola, I've been thinking of getting 8 to 10 Raspberry Pi 4s when possible and building K3s cluster out of those, as it comes cheaper than buying an R710. Yeah, that's maybe. Yeah, it's a pretty close as far as cost is concerned. Value is a totally different equation. But it's pretty close. I mean, you're going to spend, $30-40 per Pi. Then you're going to either add power or PoE hats on them all. Yeah, if you add power, it's, I don't know, $10 for power supply, making this up. And then 30-ish for PoE, then SD cards, and then if you're using SD or something else. So they kind of add up. I mean, roughly you get a Pi 4 fully loaded for, about $100. If you had PoE, that's another $20-30 to it too. So, but then 710s are yeah, I mean, it could be pretty close. I'm working on something similar, and it ties right into what I was talking about earlier, how I had some power issues and I want to run in the low power mode. But I'm thinking about building, a mini cluster that's just a backup to my existing cluster that will run 100% on Pis and 100% on PoE, because if my power goes out again, I want to make sure that I can keep some of my services running as well as my network running. And the best way to do that is run everything off PoE and put a big, fat, nasty UPS on my PoE switch. So I've been considering something too. I do have one PoE Pi in my environment, and it is running Kubernetes, but it can't bear the weight of my whole entire cluster if something goes down. Which, one of my virtual machines could. Like, if everything went down but one virtual machine, that virtual machine could handle the load of the 4 or 5 I have in my cluster, but not a Pi, not a Pi. It just can't keep up with a few of the workloads that I do, because I do some image manipulation and stuff, and in Kubernetes, to where it really taxes that ARM CPU. But maybe it'll just be slower. But then But anyways, sounds awesome. Let me know. Let me know which way you go. Jen Orion, updating all the servers, planning a new K3s cluster. Nice. Yeah, I've been there. When you say new cluster, do you mean new to you, or rebuilding the same one, or adding a second? Because all of those sound awesome. I've been through the rebuild multiple times, but I think this is the longest I've stayed on a Kubernetes platform now for a while. I did single node Docker on Rancher, and then multi-node Docker, Rancher, and then Rancher provisioned, and then flipped it all around and spun up K3s, and then put Rancher on top of that. Even destroyed that once and did it all over again. So I've been around, but that's kind of where I'm at now. So you have to let me know. Yeah. Aaron boy, I love Ubiquity. It is just so great. Polarizing comment there. Let me grab a drink. I agree, and that is not the popular opinion sometimes, but I agree with that. It's done a ton for me, and it's given me a lot of capabilities that otherwise I would have to study a lot about or learn a lot about, or not that I don't understand how these technologies work, but it's nice when you have something centralized, dare I say SDN, that pulls it all together and gives me a nice console to manage one thing, which is my whole entire network. But I agree. I think it's great. It's working out for me so far. Who knows, though? I mean, as you saw on my network firewall journey, I've done everything from, as you guys have, from ISP-provided modem, to a DDWRT with custom firmware, to virtualized pfSense, to, a hardware version of pfSense, all the way to where I'm at now. So I like to switch those things up, but I've been on this platform for almost a year now, and it's been pretty good so far. Pretty good. Let's see, Tinkerfu. Fighting to get Rancher running on K3s. Still no idea why Rancher pods keep failing to start. Interesting. So Tinkerfu, so I'm trying to think of the gotchas, and I wish I had a little bit more information, but there are a few gotchas, like one, K3s has to be running. You obviously have it running. K3s should be running. You should be able to say kube control get nodes, see all your nodes, and kube control, get pods and see pods for that namespace and kube system. Like all of Kubernetes should be working before you go and install Rancher. The Rancher, the Helm install, it's about a 5-step process. I'm guessing roughly 5 steps that you have to do. There are a couple places where you have to wait and verify that a previous command actually ran and started working. It might be on Cert Manager, I can't remember, but I have some notes on that. But why they keep failing to start, that if they're in a reboot loop or a crash loop, that's not good. And if they are, do a kube control, get logs and get the logs for that pod and see what's going on. You're going to have to use some Kubernetes troubleshooting before you get Rancher going to be able to use the UI to troubleshoot and to get logs. But if you need help with those commands, ping me in Discord. I can print them out somewhere so that you know what to run. But that would be my first guess. If I did kube control get pods for the namespace kube system, I would see a pod called Rancher, Rancher server, Rancher system, or something like that. And the namespace might be cattle. Forget where it gets installed. I think it's cattle. But anyways, then I would do, get logs for those pods and see what's going on. And if they're in a crash loop and not spitting out any logs, like they don't even have the opportunity to yet, then I would use like a kube control describe that pod and see if there's any events prior to it starting up that would actually tell me, hey, maybe I didn't mount storage, or maybe, whatever the case may be. So all the pre-initialization stuff for those pods might be if you, in the output, if you do like a describe that pod for that namespace. So yeah, let me know. John C. Heyo, how's it going? I like it. Mathny, I'm going some coursework. What about yourself? You're doing some coursework. What about myself? Yeah, I think I described it. Yeah, thanks for asking Mathny. I think I described a little bit about what I'm doing. It's a lot of kind of home improvement stuff, but preparing to move my servers, my server rack. Basically, all of my tech is kind of centralized in my basement now in one spot. I want to relocate it and centralize it in another spot that's 100% dedicated to just that. And that frees up some space in the rest of the basement, as well as just gives me one spot to go to look. And it's, you've seen some of my videos on my home lab. It's like some stuff's here, some stuff's there. Well, that's still the case. I thought I would get to a point where I moved everything in my rack and I'm not there. And so I figured rather than redo that, I'm going to move it in this other room. So that's what I've been working on. A lot of stuff that I'm not the greatest at when it comes to like drywall and mudding, and I didn't tape, but patching. This is just not my calling. I have a deep respect for anybody who does this, and it's a very valuable skill to know and to learn. It's so hard for me. There's a huge gap between doing it and being good at it, and I'm just doing it, not even anywhere near being good at it. So hats off to anyone who does any kind of, construction type work, because it is one, tough, and two, tough to do really well. So let's see. Kira, my microserver, Gen 8, still kicking. Eventually have to replace it. Yeah, that's pretty old. Hey, I think that's older. Keep it as long as you can, and unless you find something more efficient. It's kind of expensive to upgrade stuff right now. I mean, depending on what generation you're looking at. The secondhand market is always good for that stuff. And like Dalcoa mentioned earlier, Raspberry Pis could be replacing a lot of people's workloads to where some of these things might be coming up on the secondhand market. So yeah, keep your eyes out and peeled, and maybe you'll strike a deal. I assume if Pi 5s come out, they eventually will, right? I'm speculating on what they'll have, but if they have native M.2 or some kind of native storage built on to where you don't have to use SD cards or adapters or anything like that, or hats, I think that's when we'll see a big move from using bigger x86 systems to Pis. Yeah, because they're gonna have a RAM bump, they're gonna have a CPU bump like always. If they start including M.2 slots on there or SATA or some way to attach storage without a hat, that's where I think we're going to see a lot more people, replacing some of the systems they use to run their workloads with Pis. Not that they haven't already, because they totally can. Can plays. Cap'n. That's like Cap'n Crunch. Cap'n plays. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Cap'n. It took me a long time to realize that Captain Crunch was really Cap''N Crunch. Anyways, so let's see. Thank you for the follow. Thank you. Ilude, memes. We are way too serious around here for memes. Yeah. You could kind of see my random cat thunderstorm meme that I put in the channel. But yeah, no way. I don't take myself seriously at all. I make fun of myself all the time. Feel free to too. I never try to take myself too seriously. But if I'm ever being way too serious, tell me lighten up. Claude P, hello. How's it going? Ninjatron. Doing well, trying to plan out some embedded sensors for my fermentation projects. Whoa, fermentation projects. Tell me more. Like beer, moonshine, or like, yeah, well, I'm curious. So many questions. But yeah, sensors for growing stuff or just, yeah, in general is totally amazing. Especially like being able to measure soil moisture and content too. I have this little poker that I put in my houseplant sometimes. I don't know why I bought it. Just because I was curious about the pH level in my soil, because I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this a little precise, but having something smart to do that all the time would be awesome. But that'd be a ton of little mini sensors, but that would be sweet. Someone should make a smart potter, indoor potter that has this built in, and then just make it an IoT device and sell it for ton of money. And so your soil, you'll know when your soil's dry or needs some organic matter. So hey, one drop. Thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. Tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. Thank you. Dalcola. Well, depends if you're getting those and here are getting our 710 is a pain in the butt. Oh yeah, but electricity costs a ton with the consumption of Pis. Yeah, so I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah, it depends on where you live. Like, at least, I would say in the US, 710s are relatively easy to acquire. I mean, you have a lot of options. You got eBay, you got Amazon, and then all your secondhand markets, and lots of people have them. Then you got businesses giving them away, throwing them away, whatever. So we have a lot of options. I know that people outside the U.S. don't have, it readily accessible like we do. But then you're right too. You got to factor in electricity and the consumption too. What you pay for over the lifetime of having the device might be, a little more expensive than you're willing to shell out, but it all depends. Like, would I run, and I've said this before, would I run an R710 as my NAS 24/7? Probably not. That's a lot of compute. That is a ton of compute, unless you're stripping out CPUs, fans, RAM, and only doing hard drives. That's a ton of compute. That's a lot of compute for running a NAS, and that's why I think people try to stack them up in their home lab and not stack devices, but stack up that server with Proxmox, with virtualization to run multiple machines, to run multiple services, and kind of build like an all-in-one server. But if you're just using it as an NAS, that's a lot of power. So I hear you. Fair. Power consumption is a huge plus. Yeah, for sure. Salvarius, I'm late. No, you're just in time. You're not late unless it's over. How's it going, Salvarius? Good to see you. Ilud, a wizard is never late. He arrives exactly when he means to. Yeah, I like it. The good quote right there. I like it. Oh, Hype Train? Yeah, thank you guys. Incoming again? Dude, thank you guys so much. Hey, Cornell? I got to get this right. Cornelli J. That's what I'm going. Cornelli J, thanks for the sub, Prime sub. Thank you so much. Thanks for spending your Prime sub on me. How are you doing today? Claude P, is there a customer service of the internet? I am in the right place. Is there a customer service of the internet? I am in the right place. That is right. Yeah, this is the customer service of the internet. Yeah, I don't know. Is that DNS? I don't even know. Let's see. Dude, Cowardly Bird. Thank you for the Prime sub. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hype Train is going. Thanks for spending your Prime sub on me. Really appreciate it. Thank you. At Claude P, have you submitted a ticket? If not, call the help desk and submit a ticket. Yeah, and we'll, and someone will get right back with you someday. You bet it is. Submit your tickets on our Discord. I like it. Ilud, always slinging the Discord. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see. John C. Man, such a pleasant intro. Discovered your channel recently, and now I'm fixed to turn my Ryzen 3700 6800 XT into a home lab instead of dual booting Linux and Windows. Hey, thank you so much. That's awesome. John, yeah. Oh, real quick. I'm going with Hungy, dude, thanks so much. Thanks for the Prime sub. Thanks for spending your Prime sub on me. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. How are you? Welcome. Thank you so much. But John C, hey, welcome. Thanks. I'm glad I can provide some inspiration, or hopefully I didn't lead you to the wrong way. I mean, I won't lie, dual booting Linux and Windows is pretty awesome. I do it here myself. But, building out a home lab and services and maybe throwing Proxmox on it or whatever your hypervisor is and running multiple services and servers and operating systems across one machine is pretty awesome too. I got to say, it's pretty awesome. I love it so much. I've been doing it for a long time, and it doesn't get old. And you know why it doesn't get old? Because the software that you run in your home lab keeps getting better, and it keeps improving, and it keeps changing. I love it. Sure, there are different ways to do it. You can virtualize. You can run something bare metal and install something thick. I'll say thick. Even though it's not thin versus thick, but you can install, a package on a bare metal. You can install a package on a virtual machine and run that service, or you can get into Docker and do Docker and run that same service in a container, or you can do Kubernetes and run in a container. So all of that is super fun. I love it. I love it so much. And, and then on top of that, the software that we're running just keeps getting better. It keeps getting better. Open source things keep coming from everywhere, every direction, new ways to solve it. And now all of these tiny little niche projects back in the day now have competitors that are other open source solutions. It's just getting better. Software is making everything awesome. I think. But I'm a little jaded. I mean, I'm a software developer, so I'm excited about software. But at the end of the day, don't get me wrong. We need hardware to run all of this on. Without hardware, it wouldn't be possible. But man, software makes everything awesome. It just breathes new life into systems that we thought one day weren't going to be used anymore, and all of a sudden we're using them again because the software keeps getting better. So anyways, Kalgar, thanks for the Prime sub. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending your Prime sub on me. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Woot woot. You mean the Wheat Center? Yeah, totally. I like it. That's a play on my. I gotta stop saying grow because I'm not doing anything bad. But it's a play on data center plus grow room. I like it. The Wheat Center. All right, I'll take it. Except for not weed. Claude P, don't worry, it's a joke. It's just the way I feel sometimes. All right. Morvia, I'm good. Thanks for asking. Being also busy the last couple of months, so I will start a new job in a month. Exciting times. Awesome. Yeah. Congratulations on starting a new job. Yeah, I haven't seen your name in a while. Hopefully you're doing well. Good to see you. Glad you're in the channel. Hey, Blood Blight, any recommendations for free work around to ISP blocking port 25 for a mail server, trying to get a free micro VPS to port forward to it, but is there a better option? That's what I was going to say. Is get a VPS, virtual private server, get a load balancer, have it port forward to there. Port 25 would be your, put a load balance, I'll just keep it super generic. That's the route I would go. If my ISP was blocking port 25, can you run your mail server on a different port? Probably. That might be more. I don't know what's more effort. You can see I was painting. I got paint on my elbow. Anyways, I thought I cleaned all the paint off me. That would be my bet. Well, first, honestly, if I were gonna do it, introducing a VPS and having a load balancer out there and having to deal with that and a whole different set of concerns to me sounds like, just a lot of work. First, I would try to change the port. Change the port. Not always possible. Mr. M, thank you. Cheered, 100 bits. Thanks for the bits, dude. Thank you. Got to see my Mega Man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. So that would be my first easy pass. That took very little change on my part and took very little change or additional infrastructure. Change your port. Might not be possible. Your next bet is going to be, okay, well, put a load balancer somewhere else in the cloud in a VPS, and then, have port 25, have your DNS entry point to that VPS, to that load balancer, and then change the port sending back to you in your home. That's the best I got. So I think you're on the right path. I think you're on the right path for sure. That's what I would do. If I couldn't change the port myself, but that might be, sometimes ports are deeply embedded into systems, or tightly coupled, I should say. A lot of times they're loosely coupled, especially Docker containers, because you can change all that stuff. Well, the inside is tightly coupled, the outside not so much, because Docker gives you networking. You have some options. If you can't change the port yourself, definitely VPS is the way to go. Or I should just say a load balancer somewhere else, which is going to be a virtual private server in the cloud, most likely, if you can get a cheap one. And then if you can get a cheap and or free one, all it's going to be doing is load balancing. So super lightweight, very little compute needed for that. Brian Weber, I'm using a self-hosted Bitwarden and disk space usage keeps increasing. Not sure why. My only guess is logs. So I would look, I would look into it. I would do what you normally do when either containers are using, I don't know if you're containerizing it or if it's just installed through a package. Look at the logs, see if logs are getting tailed or archived or rotated. If they're not, figure out how to do that. My only guess is logs. It's got to be logs. What else is there for Bitwarden to do? Probably a ton of logging. And then check your log level, and maybe at some point you change it to debug or trace, and maybe it should be info or error. If you have controls or switches to change that or did change that, look there. But that would be my guess. That's where I would look. It's always logs. If disk space is filling up, it's logs or temp files. Tally, I gotta get this one. This looks like a new name. Talon Ray. That's what I'm going with. I'm new to the whole Kubernetes cluster shenanigans. All right. We're trying to set up a small K3s lab from your blog. The fact that MetalLB does ARP poisoning by design just blew my mind. Yeah, that might be a little bit. Okay, I didn't know that, but it's pretty awesome. I will say that MetalLB is awesome. It's basically a load balancer that's a container that runs within Kubernetes to expose your Kubernetes cluster outside of the cluster. And so I use it a ton. I didn't know that it did ARP poisoning by design. So good to know. Thanks for that little fact. If you have troubles with it, let me know. I've done quite a bit with MetalLB. I guess I should have known that, but I've been more on the consuming it side than actually developing it or actually looking into the underpinnings. But it's worked out fantastic for me so far. Void Heals. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Let me grab a drink real quick. Pinot Noir Superstore. How's it going? Hey, Techno Tim. Long time no see. Hope all is well. Pinot Noir. Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. How's it going? Let's see. Presse Puree. Hello from Switzerland. Right now I'm learning Rust for backend dev. All right, Rust. Rust is so if you don't know, I don't know a ton about Rust, but Rust is a programming language. It's a little bit higher or safer than C. Has some additional garbage collection and stuff, but it's still really super duper low level, and I'm going to say performant, but it's very performant. And it's gained a ton of popularity. Firefox itself is written in Rust, and I got to listen to a talk one time from one of the developers of Firefox, and he talked about Rust a lot, and it's super popular. Like people like Rust. So I haven't written any Rust. Nothing. I attended a developer conference once, and I saw it. And I, again, saw one of the developers of Firefox talking about it. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, it's super low level. Hey, you're learning Rust for backend dev. I hope it goes well. Let me know how it goes. Claude P, the pro service of the ISP can unblock 25, but I don't know for yours. Yeah, I think we talked about this. A while ago, like the whole paywall for ISPs for a while, basically getting a business account from your ISP where they'll give you a static IP and then probably open up those ports. And then a couple of other things. And, they would always claim, that, hey, businesses have different needs than consumers, than residential customers, I should say. And if you look at, the trends over the last 2 years of the internet usage, residential customers have pretty big needs too. So, yeah, that's a good point. You might be able to pay. So it might be a balancing act or a value judgment that you make to say, well, am I going to pay for a VPS or am I going to pay my ISP to remove this paywall so I can get port 25? Yeah, good call, Claude P. I like it. iLude, it's going to be an uphill battle because most ISPs IP addressing are going to be low reputation with the mail servers. Good call. Your email will likely end up in the junk folder for Gmail and Hotmail. Yeah, good call. Good call too, because they do the whole scoring and reputation too. And hopefully your mail server or a previous IP doesn't end up on a block list somewhere, too. Because if you have a dynamic IP, the IP you have today could have been, some bot yesterday. Same with me, and, makes you wonder. And mail servers are as you guys know, a little more sensitive to that. And then they ISPs share that information too, across, I think, mail servers. But in any case, is it a bad idea to host a mail server on a residential IP? It will probably be blacklisted everywhere because you will not have a fixed reverse DNS and a dynamic IP block. Yeah, so good question. I mean, I think this comes up a lot. Like, is it bad to self-host anything at home? And I mean, it really comes down to you. Like, what do you feel comfortable with? Like, is this a mail server for like your company? Or is this like, your personal domain and you want to host some email, very low traffic, very low emails, but you want to obfuscate your email address from all these things you sign up for. And so you have an unlimited amount of email addresses you can create and throw away if you want, or create spam ones because you own the mail server. Yeah, it's really going to be up to you. And it depends on, how critical that service is, and what you're comfortable with. I mean, opening up that port opens up a whole can of worms. And, you're going to have to protect that port. You're going to have to protect the mail coming through too. With spam lists and everything. So there's a whole different set of, and I'm not a mail administrator. I'm sure there are plenty of people in here who have done it before. But opening up a mail server is a whole different set of requirements and worries than you would have if you were just going to open up port 443, I should say, TLS to just a web service, to a web server. Very different attack surface, I guess I should say, and protection you need to have put in place. I don't mean to scare you, because you could do it fine, and I'm sure lots of people do it. I'm not scaring you, and I'm not trying to persuade you away from doing it. I would actually say do it, but keep that mail server isolated. Like anything you put on the internet, try to isolate those services or those servers onto its own network or its own VLAN, so that if one machine gets compromised, it's not your home network. And again, not trying to scare you, but just put some time and effort and thought into segmenting and moving some of those services you're going to self-host onto another network. So if one of those systems aren't compromised, then that system isn't on your network with, say, your lights or your PC or anything else that's going on too. So anyways, don't mean to scare you. I would do it. I'd 100% do it. I'd do it until it didn't work anymore, but that's just me. But then you got to balance out the cost. What's the cost to get G Suite or name your hosted email? I'm sure there's lots of providers. As long as you have a DNS, you pay $5-10 a month and they'll host your email services for you. What's the trade-off there? What's the value for you in it going that route? So, but let me know what you choose. Also curious what mail server you're going to use too. Is it full on Exchange or is it Mail Cow? There's so many awesome mail servers out there. I'm always curious about self-hosting mail, because that's one. It's like I've done it before. And it was Exchange, and it was a long time ago, and it just took a ton of infrastructure. And at the time, I didn't have a ton of resources to do it. But I'm always curious again. I own about 12 domains. I should be hosting my own email, but curious. Let's see. OneDrop. Hi, Techno Tim. How's it going? iLoot. Better free option is to sign up for. There you go. Microsoft Office 365 developer program where you get Exchange online. Tenant with 25 users. There you go. So a hosted solution. Yeah, I totally left out Office 365. Probably the elephant in the room, both G Suite and Office 365. Yeah, so, I think Microsoft and Google know how to host mail. But if you're up for the challenge, you could try it yourself. But yeah, a great suggestion, iLoot. Bloodblight. I have a DNS name and a Cloudflare and a cert, but yeah, VPN might help with that. No? Maybe. Maybe? I'm trying to think. Could it? Yeah, you could VPN back to yourself or vice versa, VPN the other way, and then send it that way. Yeah, so then you wouldn't even have to, yeah. So if you didn't want to do it publicly too, yeah, create a tunnel and do it that way too. And then they have no idea what port you're going to. They just see, this VPN tunnel to some VPS. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could do that too. Yeah, then you don't have to do any port switching or anything like that. I like it. I like where you're going with that. Sir say, hello, from good old Europe. Hey, how's it going? Have to do my home lab again this weekend. Sad face. Have to do it. Do you mean rebuild it? I hope not rebuild it. I hope you're just going to spend time just care and feeding. That's all. Or rebuild it, whatever you need to do. But so far, mine's just needed care and feeding. I dread rebuilding mine, even though I have all scripted out. Well, shouldn't say scripted. I have individual pieces scripted out, but I would dread having to build it all from scratch, especially restoring from the cloud and restoring and rebuilding from scratch like a DR type recovery. Not fun. OneDrop. Can you set up Alert Manager to send a webhook to Node-RED to shut down your nodes? Let me think about this. Could I set up Alert Manager to send a webhook to Node-RED to shut down your nodes? Yeah, so I could depend on external systems or use something like Node-RED. To be honest, I'll probably write the code myself. And when I say code, this will probably be shell scripting. But I do have a UPS that I can query. Nut also provides an interface to do this and a way to do it too. Nut is a UPS service that you can run. I'm not running Nut yet. I should be. But that's kind of my idea, is that, if I go to battery backup, shut everything down. Because my UPS so far will probably get me about 12 minutes of runtime, which is not good. And another reason why I'm going to separate my networking equipment from my servers and have different UPSs. I get about 12 minutes of runtime, and every now and then the power will flicker, but I think I'm going to build something or write something that can basically query my UPS and say, hey, if you're below 50% power, shut everything down. I don't even care. Just shut it down because that's a lot easier to recover from than like a hard shutdown, pull the plug, and run the risk of corruption. I actually had corruption once on my UDM Pro, out of all things. My network, the network controller that runs on there runs a MongoDB database, and if you don't shut that down gracefully, sometimes that database can corrupt. I mean, like any database or any file system really that is reading and writing, it can get corrupted. And that happened to me before too, where I had to restore it. Like things were just not working the way they should. I couldn't even get to parts of the UI, and I had to do some DR on it before. That was like three power incidents ago. But yeah, I like it. I like where you're going, automating this and doing things programmatically. That's absolutely the way I'm going. I just don't know the technology stack that I'm going to use to get there, though. But yeah, I like it. Home Lab New. Hi, Tim. Thought I missed the stream today on my flight, but I just made it. Just base it back. Just made it back to Texas. I assume that's what you mean. Dude, I thought you were in the UK. Every time I guess you're somewhere else. He's such a jet setter, this guy, Home Lab News. Sometimes he's in the UK, sometimes he's in the US. Man, you've made so many trips across the pond. It's incredible. Hope you're doing well. John C. Ilude, it's a bit intimidating with ZFS pass-through and the GPU, but as soon as I get a bit of free time, it's the first thing on the planner. Planning to begin with 3 separate VMs for Plex, Ubuntu for work, and Windows for games. Maybe gonna dip my toe in Docker. Haven't found what I want it doing for me though. Yeah, I hear you. Also have 32 gigs of RAM, I assume, and it seems to be on the smaller side for VMs, but the prices are just too high right now. Yeah, so you have you got quite the plan. I like that you have a plan and you're starting to bucket your workloads into certain technologies. That's awesome. It's good exercise to do. Say, what's going to run as a VM, what might run as Docker, and where do these, and just planning out your VM and sizing. Yeah, all good things to do. All good things. Dalcola, Tim, regarding the CCNA question, I might target the cert at some point, but it's mainly as I want to learn some more. And as I worked during the summer on the ISP network management, the Spider-Man's technical variant router spider bit me. So here I am learning about the networks and hoping books plus VI RL CML license for a year are worth it. Yeah. All right. Self-learning. I'm all about self-learning. So congratulations. I don't mean to just jump and make assumptions like, hey, you're studying CCNA, so you want that certification. It's totally fine. Like I said, I had the book, never took the certification. And it's totally fine. I was in the same boat, wanted to learn more. I wanted something to reference when people, said acronyms that I didn't understand, or just have a deeper understanding of how something worked, or a higher level understanding of how things worked as a whole. So yeah, awesome, totally awesome. I'm all about self-learning and self-help. Claude P, a DNS name for a mail server will not change the reputation of your IP, unfortunately. Yeah, I totally agree. Hey Josh, what's up? Doing good. How are you? Hey, yeah, good man. Good man. Hopefully you're well. Hey Tim, first time here from YouTube. Witty Dan. Hey, thanks. Welcome here. Sorry, it took me a while to get your comment. How are you doing today? Hopefully you're well. Amazed Josh says everything is going good. PC was her Christmas present. Haha. Still my fiance. All right, I nailed it. I can't remember what happened yesterday, but I remember that. Well, hopefully she's enjoying it, and hopefully you guys are doing well. Good to see you, man. Live news. Stream hype forever. OneDrop. Loki is becoming a very fair replacement to Splunk stack. The best part about that integration is the prom stack very well. Loki, I need to look into more on Loki. I hear about it. I hear there's so many things named Loki. I'm like, which Loki? But I'll look into that too for Splunk as a replacement, possibly. It's Julian. I missed one. Home Lab New. I've couple of things I skipped from home lab news. Sorry. Going well. Jet lagged, but happy to be back in the old home lab. Nope, back in the US. I missed it. Needed this sudo. Yeah. I have definitely been playing the new guy card. Yeah, to keep playing it. Bloodblight. Yeah, now you got sudo. Yeah, now you got sudo you can use all day. And you got run as administrator too. There are a couple other ones. It's Julian. When you deploy a new K3s service and you want to access it only local, do you add the DNS record to manually to Pi-hole? Yeah, good question. Yes. Yes, you do. So if you're running K3s in a cluster, that pod, the service you're talking about, could spin up on any one of those pods. So how do you know which pod it goes to? Well, that's where something like a load balancer comes in and helps you out. Real quick, Toxic, resub, tier 1, 6 months, kisses from France. Tim. Hey, how's it going? How's it going, Toxic? Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So it's Julian. Yeah. So the problem you're trying to solve is, how do you reference this service that's running on some pod, one of many pods, and that's where a load balancer comes in. You have options for load balancers. I've been going with Traffic for a while. Traffic can be your reverse proxy. It can do also traditional load balancing too for TCP and UDP services. I mostly use it for HTTP services, so web traffic, HTTP protocol traffic versus a different TCP or UDP port or service. But anyways, so you need a load balancer inside of your cluster on the edge, and then. Traditionally, then I use MetLLB, what we were talking about earlier, to expose an IP that you can get to from the outside. And I know you're just doing it internal, but you got to think of like Kubernetes. Think of Kubernetes, even if it's on your same network, is still segmented from the rest of the network. Like most, unless you're running single node, most of the time you have to go through a load balancer. You have to go through a load balancer to get in there. And I get it. You might be able to ping one of those nodes and you might be able to kube control in and see what's going on. But you always want to go through a load balancer to get to those things because the load balancer will figure out which pod that service is running on. So long story short, in that case, what I do, and I think I have a GitHub doc on this, and I've done it with single node. But what I do is I run K3s, I run MetLLB, and then I create routes for K3s to say, hey, this service is named this in Kubernetes, and it's and to use traffic for that, and then use MetLLB to expose an IP. And so then basically what you end up getting at the end of the day is one IP to get to your cluster. And then you would use DNS to point to internal DNS to point to that one IP that MetLLB exposed for your service. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I know it's super complicating, and this is like the end of the road with not the end of the road, but as far as infrastructure is concerned, if you're building K3s, this is like the cherry on top. Is once you get MetLLB and traffic or your load balancer running. To be able to get traffic, network traffic into that cluster and to the right service and to the right pod. And that's usually, those are my tools that are in my tool belt, those two. But if you need help, ping me in Discord. I can point you to my documentation. It's kind of long, but it's totally worth it because once you do it once, then you know how to do it for every single service. TCP and UDP are a little bit different. You'll have to use Traffic 2 for that. But prior to that, I think Traffic 1 was primarily used for reverse proxy, so just HTTP traffic protocol. But when I say HTTP, I don't mean like, port 80. I just mean that protocol versus HTTP versus HTTPS. Okay, so Takano just found ESP, XG, PCS, 15D, Surge Protector at Goodwill for $7. Debating should you get it? Yeah, man, get it. I'd say get it. $7. I'd do it. I'd do it. I mean, when's the last time you said, I have too many surge protectors? Not me. I'm usually I'm one short all the time. And I got to borrow one from another thing, and then I got to buy some more, and then I have one spare, and then it's gone. Next week it's gone. I'm like, oh yeah, it's over there. I go for it. I don't know that exact model, but if you know the model and it's a good deal, go for it. Claude P, it's vacations. All right, vacations. And what have I been doing? I put self-hosted home automation on the house and automated the pool heating. I can't stop myself. I like it. I love it. That sounds awesome. I would totally do it too if I had a pool. I'd be all over it. I would automate anything. And then the nice part you probably get about maybe if you have sensors too, is now you know the temperature of your pool all the time. If not, I just gave you another idea. You can have some metrics on, pool temps and how long it takes to get to those temps on warm and cool days so you don't overheat the pool. I like it. Techno seems to work. It's an overvoltage, undervoltage, noise filter, power monitor. The only thing is the cable needed to access the data is $47. Oh, yeah, there you go. So I don't know if I do that. I don't know if I do that. Man, you guys got some awesome stuff at your Goodwill there. Usually when I go, it's slim pickings. I still like the look though. Techno also managed to sell the PCs, $50 each. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. Techno. Oh man, Swiss Techno Tom. Ooh, got some competition in Switzerland. Greetings from Switzerland. Thanks for Thanks for spending your time. Sorry, I need to slow down. Can you explain to me when running Docker containers, it is recommended to use host networking or Mac VLAN networking? Ooh, yeah, Mac VLAN is solving a very particular problem. So I haven't done any Mac VLAN. I get how it works though, right? It's basically gonna do some networking magic to expose that service on an IP for you, so you can refer to that IP rather than refer to that host IP and a particular port. I think this is just a convenience, and let me know if I'm wrong, but for the most part, I think it's just a convenience thing, and it's a mental model that people want to wrap their head around. When I first started getting into Docker, I thought the same thing. I'm like, sweet, the service is running. Like, can I get an IP for it? Because in people's heads, they think like, if you come from virtualization, that's what you think. You think, yeah, I want an IP to point to it. Well, that's not how it works. Typically in Docker, it's the same host, but with a different port. And then so you have to use ports, and you got to do a whole bunch of port mapping and port magic to figure that out. And then, Mac VLAN came along, or it's probably been along for a long time. I learned about it, I'll say that. And so then I discovered Mac VLAN, and that's kind of what it does. It allows you to assign an IP address to that particular pod. And when would you use either? Not sure. I think the only time I can think of in my head of when I would choose Mac VLAN to do that, I don't, but if I did, was one, I didn't want to spin up a load balancer to do that networking magic for me. Or two, I had two services that were on this that had to expose the same exact port. I mean, arguably, that's what you would use a load balancer for. But let's say you had two Docker, so you had two containers running that both needed access to port, 443 for whatever reason, and you couldn't change them. That's where something like Mac VLAN might come in handy, because then you could say, okay, well, you're going to expose this pod on this IP address and go there for that service and go here to the host for this service. But again, like this is an outsider looking in. I've never used Mac VLAN, to be honest, because I've always, put a load balancer or a reverse proxy in front of it, and that solved it, because that's just another layer to say, hey, when you request this, translate this to this port, and then Docker does its own, kind of networking magic too. And arguably, I would say if you have two things on the same port, with Docker, you could choose the external port that you want to expose, but, sometimes you can't get around that. So, I mean, that's the only use case that I can think of. But let me know. Techno Tom, I like it. Swiss Techno Tom, I like it. Homeland New. The week I plan to upgrade a relatively customized Proxmox install on my original R720. Nice. Oh, this week. Nice. So many packages are suddenly getting pulled from testing repo, so I'll have to figure that out. Fortunately, I've got another R720, a clean Proxmox install, and I joined it to a cluster, so I'll migrate as much stuff as I can over to it before upgrading the original R720. Do you have to recreate the networking setup on the R720 even though it's part of the same cluster? I don't know. I mean, the networking part, so I don't know exactly what you're talking about, the networking part. Each node in the cluster could have its own networking. I haven't, I just have one Linux bridge for mine. And maybe that has to be the same across all my nodes. I don't know. I don't think so. I could be wrong. But I haven't had to do anything different when I join my other two nodes to the cluster. I mean, there are some requirements, like, if you have ZFS, they have to have the same ZFS volume on each and whatnot if you want to do migrations. So there are some requirements, but I don't know. Don't know the answer to that. I mean, I've always joined nodes and I've been able to migrate them over just fine. But the ZFS is a hard requirement, and if you have ZFS on one, you have to have the same ZFS volume on the other, because I think that's how it moves them over through ZFS replication, something like that. But I learned that the hard way on one of my nodes because I can't have ZFS on one of my low-powered nodes. But there's a workaround for that. You just take a snapshot of take a backup of that VM, save it off to something like NFS, and then restore it on the other one. So there are workarounds. It's just not as graceful as that. But I'm curious too about packages suddenly getting pulled from testing repo. I did notice on Proxmox 7, like they were revving, like I had package updates like every day, sometimes multiple times a day, and I'm sure those were a lot of fixes more than features, even though they were revving, the version of Proxmox that's running, and a lot of PBS stuff they were doing too, so the Proxmox backup server client. And then it went dark. It went dark for a couple, I think 2 weeks, and all of a sudden updates started showing up again. So, but curious what packages you're saying were getting pulled. Okay, guys, it is time. It is time. I'm gonna look for direct mentions or my name is how it's gonna go because I do have to run, but I do want to make sure I address those that are talking directly to me or have a question. RE Node Red Alert Manager. I run this in all my clusters. I like it, clusters. Prometheus monitors my UPS. And with a metric like UPS low on battery gets triggered, Alert Manager sends the webhook to Node-RED, all running in a cluster, and shut down my node. Nice. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how I was going to do it. But I was probably going to use Ansible to script the shutdown of all the machines, all the virtual machines, but almost exactly how I was going to do it. Basically a trigger that says when UPS, I wasn't even going to go low. I'm just going to query probably the UPS and say, are you on backup power? And then if you are, what percentage of battery do you have left? If it's less than 50%, run this Ansible playbook that's like shut down, force everything. Shut down, force everything. But then, yeah, I have some plans, but probably have a couple of pies that are going to keep most of my Kubernetes services still running. So awesome. I love it. All right. I'm going to look for it. All right. Here we go. Hey guys. So, didn't mean to, I'm not cutting it short, but I didn't mean to end so abrupt, but it is about that time. So I do appreciate you spending time and hanging out with me. Yeah, I lose it. He's on it. So if you want to continue talking, I know that all you guys are having conversations, trying to figure stuff out, or maybe you want more inspiration for the project that you're working on, or you want to see how I hack things together on my home, in my new data center. I encourage you to join our Discord. We have a Discord full of, I think we're up to 4,500 people now that are passionate about tech, about home labs, about networking, about all kinds of stuff. Even, software developers, you name it. People who just want to learn more and learn from people who know. Learn from people who are actually doing stuff, and it's a great place just to kind of chit chat all day long. So, anyways, no pressure, but if you'd like to, I'd love for you to join. All right, Ilud, he's on it. 4,700, man. Last time I ran that command, I think it was 45, so it's growing. So thank you so much. Which is pretty awesome. I never expected that. I say that all the time. I remember when it was just me and the bot in there, and now up to 4,700 members. I can't thank you enough. Thanks to the mods too for keeping it clean and keeping it awesome and keeping conversations flowing. I really appreciate it. But if you guys have more questions, feel free to post it there in Discord. And remember, I don't have all the answers. Most of the times people have better answers than I do. And that's the thing about the community, is that you can just lean into the community. It doesn't always have to be me. But there are a lot of people in there who know lots of stuff and have a lot of experiences around the world. So encourage you to join. But if you do have a question directly for me, let me know. Ping me here, Twitter, wherever. I try to respond, even in a YouTube comment. I think I'm pretty good at responding to things. So, anyway, so appreciate you hanging out today on your Saturday, spending about an hour with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for follows, for conversations, for subs, for gifted subs. I really appreciate it. So thankful for that. And if you guys have any more questions, ping me somewhere. But yeah, have a great weekend. Have a great rest of the day on Saturday. It might be Sunday for you, but have a great rest of the weekend. I'll see you guys soon. Definitely next week and maybe throughout the week on YouTube. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Take care, folks, and be good to each other. Take care.